Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is going to be our episode 2 of the Ferrari 612 Teppista build, and we're going to show you some stuff today that we normally don't show anybody. All the stuff that we do to just about every one of our cars, which people sometimes think it's easy. A lot of people at SEMA said, oh, this is simple, but you're going to see why it's not so simple. And we don't have any crazy machines or 3D scanners or nothing like that. Everything is done by hand, just like it would have been back in the day. And we have some of the best experts to do it. Perry, Mo, Miguel, and Casey were pretty much the ones that did everything on this car. And you'll see here in the next 20 minutes what it took to get to SEMA. So this is the perfectly good 612 that we bought. This is about 10 days into the car leaving the dealership, and now it looks like that. That's our buddy Koto taking the glass out carefully so we can reuse it if we need to. This is just, us taking the car apart very carefully so we can reuse the pieces. Since we do have 2 of these cars, we ended up using a lot of parts from this one for the other white one with the Tiffany interior. The glass on these Ferraris is not easy to get out. It took some time, but we got it and we were able to save it. So here Miguel is trying to get the rest of the body off the car. This car is shaped kind of weird. There is no fenders and front end and the hood. It's all one big piece. So taking it off without damaging anything was kind of tough. He spent maybe 2 or 3 days trying to figure out how to get the back panel off because there's just so much work, and this complete car is it's complete aluminum. So it was a challenge for him to do. Here's Perry and Mo. You can see here where they made the first cuts to stretch the car out to fit the wheelbase of the 612, and that's a big cut. So what happened was the doors ended up being too big, and you'll see later what we did to make the doors smaller, which was genius of them. Miguel doing some more cutting. There's a piece they made to stretch the car properly. So that's how much longer the door is supposed to be. And once we put the door on, we didn't really like it because it was just way too long. It just looked funny. So Mo and Perry decided to make a mold of the front part of the rear fender where the door latch is and move it forward. And it was a genius idea because it worked. Here they're making a mold of the 612 taillight, because the taillights on the Testarossa, the 57 car, were way too small and didn't look right. So we integrated one of the taillights to the back of the new project, and it turned out amazing. I'm very glad we did that. There's a lot of back and forth with that, but we ended up doing it, and Perry made it work, and it just looks amazing. We didn't know if we were going to use the original dash or somehow incorporate it into the old style car, so we pulled it out, put the body on it first, and then kind of went around that. We tried to save as many factory pieces as possible so it'd be easy to go back together. And of course we missed 1 or 2, and that kind of gave us issues at the end. And we just now, like about a week after SEMA, figured it out and then drove the crap out of the car, and it drove amazing. Here we go. They're finally going to take the back part of this car off, and all in one piece so we can save it. If anybody has a crash 612, we have just about every piece for it, so let us know in the comments. So here's our chassis, big V12. Looks nothing like the car we're trying to put on top of it. Here's Mo making some fiberglass. There's the piece I was talking about that they made a mold of the front piece of the rear fender so they could pull it out some more and make the door much smaller to look right. Here's the tail light. It's gonna look a lot better than that at the end, but that was the whole idea and it turned out amazing. I really love it. So at this point, we're just kind of adding all our pieces, all our new pieces to it. The wide body's hasn't started yet. We want to put the car on top of the chassis first, secure it, and go from there. As you can see, everything is done by hand. That portion, the rear portion, was brought out a little bit, like I said before, the wide body, but it had to be done to make that taillight look proper, or else it would have just looked like we just stuck it in there. Perry and Mo here working side by side. And just keep in mind, guys, this is one car. We took 5 cars and a truck, so 6 vehicles altogether, and all of them had to go through an extensive amount of work. But this one, of course, was our main prize project, and it took up most of our time and was by far the hardest one to do. So here they're cutting the back panel off to now widen the car without the wide body. This is just widening the car out without the flares or anything like that, just to be able to fit on top of the 612 chassis. I wasn't there this day when they were cutting this up, because keep in mind, this body originally came from a Paul Mitchell collection, and it was a perfect body with amazing paint, and to watch this was really difficult, so I was out doing something else. So I'm watching it for the first time, just like you guys. Here they are cutting up the front of it. I'd say it was about a foot they cut out. And there goes the whole body in 2 pieces, which is now about a 1.5 feet longer. Here's where the guys are going to try to fit one side of the car, driver's side, to see where we're even at this point. Yeah, they did this a few times. Stuff was in the way, we had to keep cutting stuff, but eventually it went on. Here's Mo trying on a dummy wheel that belongs to Alex Troy. Thank you, Alex. Just to get an idea of how it's gonna look. This is our buddy Robert doing all of the welding to make sure everything is supported properly. And there she is. Both sides on, middle part of the hood on. And we, for the first time, got to see what this car is gonna kind of look like. The body's still not all the way down, but it gave us a good idea of what we got to look forward to and how much work is left. You can see how they attached both sides with the piece in the middle there. That's gonna end up being the license plate, and you can see by that middle piece of the fiberglass how much wider the car is now, just to be able to sit over the 612 chassis. We decided to open up the center part of the hood and build a beautiful bubble so you can see the engine without having to take the hood off. And that was a real challenge to do, but we found the right place here in Los Alamitos, California, that took on the project and executed it beautifully. So at this point, none of the factory 57 Testarossa parts are going to fit. So the windshield had to be remade, which was quite a challenge because of the way it's shaped. It's a lot bigger now, so we didn't want it to be flimsy, so we had to make the plexiglass a lot thicker, and it's got a bunch of different shapes to it. So when we finally put it on, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about, along with the center part of the hood, the bubble, and then we also made brand new headlight covers to fit perfect. Here's Perry adding 3 vents to the front to kind of make it look like the 250 GTO, but at the same time, every hole he added to the front of this car is functional to let more air into the engine. Here's Perry starting to design the rear wing, which we did it twice. We made one, Perry didn't like it, so he redesigned it and we made a second one. That's cut out of billet aluminum, and then we engraved it, we added plates to it that Pyron made. A lot of work went into just making these brackets to hold the carbon wing that Mo ended up making in the end. So at this point, we're about close to 50% of the way through as far as the design aspect of it. We know how the car is going to look. We have a beautiful render that Perry made, and then we kept changing it. Pyron changed it, Perry changed it. We kept going back and forth, and we came up with a final one that everyone liked, and that picture was right next to this car, so everybody got to see it every single day, and we knew kind of what we were after. On the next episode, you'll see the end of this project and what it took to finish it, and at the end of that, you'll see us driving it, us taking it to SEMA and see what the reaction was from the public, and our dream project was done. So hope you enjoyed this one. The next one will be the end of it, and you guys will see the final car.